Okay, welcome back students. We'll start further in the arrays today. So the first topic would be the sequential search, also called as the linear search. Now as the name suggests, sequential or linear, this means we are trying to search an element in an array in a sequential fashion or a linear fashion, like one by one element at a time. Now compare success, how to perform this particular thing. Searching means you have a target, you have an element given, okay, I'm looking for this particular item. Once I find, I will stop. So there are two possible cases. Either you will find the element or you will not find the element. Compare successive element of a given list with a search item until either a match is encountered or the list is exhausted without a match. That is two options we have. So see with an algorithm actually how this thing could be performed. So let me take an array first. Suppose 7, 2, 1, 5, 3 and 8. Okay. Sequential sir, it is I is equal to 0 if the lower bound is 0. Suppose my lower bound is 0, so I would be here. I will be here. So repeat step 2.1. So I have to repeat this step 2.1 while I is less than n. Here n is like the number of elements. So suppose so this could be the n value here, number of elements. So n is equal to what? Number of elements. Or also it could be the upper bound. Not an issue. It could just depending on the way of the implementation. Since it is starting from 0, it should be n minus 1. So here it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I will go until n is 6. Okay, so because it is less than, so it will work fine. N is 6, and li of I means whatever the current element is not equal to the item you are looking for. Item is the number you are looking for. Suppose my item is 3. That this number I am looking for. Okay, and the location will return the current index where I found the element. Okay, so I is less than n. Yes, I is currently 0. It is less than n, so not an issue. And LA of I is 7. 7 is not equal to 3. This means okay, I have to go I equal to I plus 1. This loop will go. So the I will progress from here to here. Here this would be the I. Again, we will check for the condition 1. If this particular index is 1, 1 is less than 6, okay, and 2 is not equal to 3. In this case, I equal to I plus 1. Again, it will go from here to here. This is again an I. Okay, this is 2. 2 is less than 6, yes, and 1 is not equal to 3. This means I is equal to I plus 1. You have to go in this manner only. It is the same thing. So I will go from here to here. I. Okay, and then it will again come with the current index would be 3. So 3 is less than 6 years and 5 is not equal to 3, then I equal to I plus 1. It will go from here to here. Okay, okay, not an issue. From here, if the current index is 4, 4 is less than 6, fine, but LA of I, 3 is not equal to 3. This is wrong, because 3 is equal to 3. This means here the loop will terminate in this particular case and the 2.1 will not execute further. So it will again check, it will check back, because see, it is again checking, because we don't know this time the loop has been terminated because of this condition, like this condition or this condition. Now suppose if your array has been exhausted and then this particular statement has been made as if this loop has been terminated because of this particular part, in this case it will not be equal to item. That's why, since we are lucky we have found the element, so we'll again compare. LA of I, LA of 4 is equal to 3. Yes, then it will return location of I. Location of I is currently the I is 4, so location is equal to 4. This is the this is the answer. If not, if this is not the case, we will return not found, and this is the end of the sequential search. So there is two options. Now what could be the worst case? The worst case could be order of when, given the element found at the last or it is not found. If the element you are looking for is not found or it is found at the last index here at nth position in this case, or n-1 position, then you can say, okay, this is the worst case. Suppose what is the best case? Suppose it is your day, it is a lucky day. What will happen? It would be order of 1 only. Why so? The reason is the first element itself, like within a constant check or constant comparison, you can able to find the best case would be order of 1. That is the idea. This is all about the sequential search. Thank you. Let's start with the binary search algorithm. Now the binary search algorithm is an efficient algorithm if the array is shorted. Means one thing you should be very clear, the binary search algorithm only works given the array is already shorted to us. A binary search is used whenever the list starts to become a large. One thing you also noted down, this binary search is generally useful or generally considered whenever we have a large array. Large array means more than 16 elements. The binary search start by testing the data in the element at the middle of the array to determine if the target is in the first or second half of the list. So what is the idea is, it will go to the middle. Since the array is shorted, it will go to the directly middle index, and then from here it will verify, okay, I am looking for a number, is it equal to middle? If not, is it smaller than middle or greater than middle? Accordingly, if it is smaller than middle, it will choose the previous part of the array, that is the first half of the array. Otherwise, if it is greater than the middle, it will choose the second half of the array. If it is in the first half, we do not need to check the second half. If it is in the second half, we do not need to test the first half. That is the idea. So the binary search starts by testing the data in the element at the middle of the array to determine if the target is in the first or the second half of the list. If it is in the first half, we do not need to check the second half. Similarly, if it is in the second half, we do not need to test the first half. In other words, we eliminate half the list from the further consideration. We repeat this progress until we find the target or determine it is not in the list. We'll see with an example. To find the middle of the list, we need three variables basically. One to identify the beginning of the list, that is the lower bound. One is to identify the middle of the list, and one is to identify the end of the list, that is the upper bound. We analyze two cases here. The target is in the list, that is the item I am looking for is available and we have to found. The second case would be the target is not in the list, that is target not found. Suppose the target is found, take this example. Suppose assume in this particular array we are looking for a number 22. Okay, so we are not aware is it present or not. So the idea is it will first find the middle index. So how to find the middle index is first, that is 0 plus 11, that is the last. 0 plus 11 by 2, 11 by 2 is 5.5, will take the floor. So this is the middle index. So taken the middle index here. Now again in this case I am looking for the number 22. I will compare with the middle element. Once I compare with the middle element, what will happen is 22 is, so this is the first, this is the mid, and this is the last. The target is 22 here. Obviously 22 is greater than 21, yes or no? 22 is greater than 21, so we have to consider this part of the array. This part could be ignored directly without any problem. Now, so what will I do? I will update the first to this particular point. This is my new first. Okay, so this is the new first. First is 6, the last will remain 11. So 6 plus 11, 17 by 2. 17 by 2 would be 8.5. We'll take the floor, that is 8. So the middle is 8. We'll go to the middle. and we'll ask, okay, is 62 less than or greater than 22? We will get an answer. Okay, 22 is less than 62. This means I have to consider the previous part of C. Obviously, the number 22 will reside before this particular position because the array is shorted. So we can ignore this entire position. It is not required. We did not have to search inside. What are the remaining? 6 and 7. So the first would be 6. The last would be 7. What is the middle index? 6. 6 plus 7 is 13 by 2. That is 6.5. It is middle would be 6. That is 6 plus 7. 13 by 2 would be 6.5. We'll take the 4. So 6. Okay, we'll go to the 6th index. We'll ask the same question. Is 22 equal to 22? I will get an answer. Yes. We'll found the element, and this is the successful search. When we test the target to the value at the mid at a second time, we discover that target is less than the value, this value that is less than 62 that we have already seen, and accordingly it will keep on adjusting, and we will found this element in this particular way. Now suppose we'll take a target where we did not found the element. See, the previous example we have seen, we have successfully find the element. Let me try one time. Whenever the target is not found case, that is, suppose like it is not present. This is done for the first and the last crossing. That is, we are doing it when the first become the greater than the last, and we'll see how it is elements are worked, like how our target cases would be worked. So here the first is 0, last is 11, and the middle will obviously be the 5. Suppose I'm looking for 11. What could be the, how we can find? We'll see. We'll go to the 21. We'll ask, okay, is 21 less than 11 or not? Yes, this means we have to consider the first half of the array, and this of the part would be ignored directly, not an issue. So the last will updated to 4. Now once the last is updated to 4, so 0 plus 4, 2, 2 will go here 8. So this is the new middle. In this case, since it is the new middle, I will ask the question, is 11 greater than or smaller than 8? I will get an answer, okay, 11 is greater than 8. This means I can ignore the first half of the array because the number will not be present here. So 3 and 4, 7, 7 by 2, that is middle is 3. I will ask this question again, okay. Is 11 is greater than 10? 11 is greater than 10? Answer will be yes. This means, okay, this part does not have an array, will go in this part. First, middle, last, this is only one element left. 4 plus 4, 8, 8 divided by 2, 4. Is 4? Fourth index, the element is 14. So we'll ask, okay, 11 is smaller or greater than 14? The answer will be smaller. But we already know, we have already exhausted this part and this part of the array because the numbers are not present here. This means 11 is not present in the list. The function will terminate. We'll see with an algorithm first, and then we will look towards the time complexity. So these are some of the variables that we have taken in the binary search algorithm. Sorted array, that is the data. Item is the info that I am looking for. LB is the lower bound. UB is the upper bound. ST is the start location. Mid is the middle location, and the last would be the last location. These are just the variables that we have used. Okay, look at this algorithm. What is actually happening? We'll assign lower bound is equal to start and upper bound is equal to last. So this is the start, this is the last. If you still look at the example, this is the same way we are doing. Then we will find the middle, st plus last by 2, take it as a floor. Okay, we'll take it as a floor, not an issue. Now we'll go to the middle and ask. So st is less than equal to last. This means we have still some element present in the array. If the start is less than equal to last, means there is some element present in the list, and data mid is not equal to the item, means the middle element is not equal to the item that we are looking for. Then we will ask, okay, obviously it is not equal to the item, then we have to find, whether we have to choose the left part of the array or the right part of the array. Now if the item is less than the data mid, see this, if item is less than the data mid, this means I have to choose the first half. I have to choose the first half. Now since I have to choose the first half, so I have to update the last is equal to mid minus 1. 1 is placed before the middle, that is the first part. Otherwise we have to choose the second half, that we have to choose the second half. Now whenever I have to choose the second half, I have to make a start is equal to mid plus 1. That means the start will go after the middle. Now again we'll find a new middle depending on the start and the last updated. Now here int, this is the floor only. And again we will go to the, once we find a new middle, we'll go again back to this step and we'll keep on continuing this particular step until this condition goes as a false or this particular condition goes as a false. Either of this condition or this condition will go false. Now whenever this condition go false, this means we have found the element, and otherwise if this condition goes as a false, this means we have exhausted the array. Now once we terminate this loop, we have no idea whether this particular thing has been terminated because of this condition, this one, or this particular condition. In this case what we will do is, we'll again find whatever the middle element, the data at the middle element, middle index is equal to item or not. If it is equal to item, and I will return the location is equal to mid, otherwise location is equal to null. This means element found and element not found. So this could be the case, element found or not found. Now the next thing is, this is the binary search algorithm. Now the second thing is, what is the time complexity? So we'll take an example. We have an element at the starting. After the first iteration, suppose it is not a successful search, the array size would be reduced to n by 2. Again it will reduce to n by 4. Eventually it will reduce to 1. That is the idea. The number, it will keep reducing half. That would be the pattern. This could be like that we've already seen. Whenever it is a division case, the complexity would be order of log n base 2. That is the worst case. Okay, suppose it is your day, it is a lucky day. What will happen? First time you will find the middle and you will get your element, and then you will stop. This is the best. So this is the idea. Okay, we'll go to the merging algorithm. Now suppose, see, the merging algorithm works in this particular manner, that I have two sorted arrays, two smaller sorted arrays, and then I want to combine the element of A and B into a larger sorted subarray called as the A array. Okay, so that is an idea. See there, suppose A is a sorted array with R elements and B is a sorted element with S elements. The operation that combines the A and B into a single sorted list C with n is equal to R plus S elements is called as a merging. So we'll take an example first and then we'll go to the algorithm. Now suppose I have a B array here, and then we have a C array, and we have a A array. That is the, we are merging the answers here. Now you can look at here, it will compare this first element and the first, see the B is sorted and C is individually sorted. It will compare the first element of B and C, 1 or 6, which is smaller? 1. So it will be copied from C to A, and the J will go one step ahead. Now it will again compare 6 and 9, which is smaller? 6. So 6 will be copied here, and I index would be one step ahead. Now again it will compare 8 and 9. So which is smaller? 8. So it will go 8, and from the I index will go one step ahead. Now it will again compare 26 and 9, which is smaller? Answer is 9. So 9 will copy from here to A, and then it will again move ahead. So 26 and 42, which element will go ahead? Which is smaller? 26. So 26 will be copied here, okay, and the I index will move ahead. So 32 and 42, which is smaller? 32. 32 will once an array has been exhausted. See, the B array has exhausted, all the element has been copied to A. Then the C array, the element will be copied directly without any comparison. This is called as a merge. Okay. Now we'll see an algorithm also. Okay, the time complexity here would be order of n in the worst case. Now come to the merging algorithm. Merging, we have A, R, B, S and C. A is the array name, R is the number of elements present, where B is again an array, where S is the number of elements present in the B, and the C is a larger sorted array. Here A and B will be the sorted arrays with R and S elements respectively. This algorithm merges A and B into an array C with n is equal to R plus S elements. Okay, so this algorithm works in a very same manner that we have seen an example in the previous slide. So Na is equal to 1, Nb is equal to 1 and Nc is equal to 1. So every index, Na will consider A array, Nb will consider B array and Nc will consider C array. They are just pointing to the first index. Now while Na is less than equal to R and Nb is less than equal to S, this means we have some elements present in both the arrays. Then see, it will compare it will comparing content of A array and B array. Suppose B is greater, this means I have to copy from A array, so I will copy from A array to the C array, and since I have copied from A, I will update Na is equal to n plus 1, okay, and then else part will not execute, and then Nc is equal to Nc plus 1 because the element has been copied to the C array. Now again it will keep, since again we have not exhausted with an array, it will again compare. See, the idea is it is comparing the contents of the two arrays A and B one at a time, since they are sorted. So whatever goes smaller will be copied. Now suppose this time, if this condition satisfies, suppose this condition A of Na is not less than equal to B of Nb, means we have shorter elements present in the B array, what will happen? This will copy from B to C. The idea is, because whatever the smaller have to go to the C, and Nb is equal to Nb plus 1. That is the idea. Now once this particular condition terminates, this is only because one of the array has been exhausted. In the previous example we have seen our one of the array has already been exhausted. In this case, this particular loop will not continue forward. Now what is the step second? We'll find, okay, like which of the arrays still have some elements left. So if Na is less than equal to R, means, see, the R is the number of elements present in the array A. Now if Na is still less than the R, this means we have some elements left in the array A. So what is the idea here is, if Na is greater than equal to R, means the Na is now greater than R, means array A has already been exhausted. This means I have to copy from the B array. So while the Nb is less than equal to S, means Nb has not still reached to the number of elements present in the array B, that is represented by S. It is keep on copying from B to C and C, and NB equal to +1 and NC equal to +1. See, again I am repeating, step 3 generally works for once whenever a like A and B, one of the array has been exhausted, and you have to compare the, or you have to copy the content of the second array. So it says if NA is greater than R, 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 this means what? The NA has already crossed R, right? This means R is the number of elements, but NA is more than R. This means array A has already exhausted. This means you have to copy from array B. So while NB is less than equal to S, it will copy from B array to C array, NB equal to NB plus 1 or NC equal to NC plus 1. Now if this is not the case, this means what will happen? See, the step 3 will only come whenever one of the array has been exhausted. If NA is not greater than R, obviously the B array has been exhausted, and now while NA is less than equal to R, it will copy the content from A to C, NC equal to NC plus 1, NA equal to N plus 1, returns C once this loop has been terminated. So this is the merging idea. Now the time complexity would be, the input consists of the total number N is equal to R plus S elements in A and B. Each comparisons assign an element to the array C, which eventually has n elements. According the number Fn of the comparison cannot exceed more than n. So what it's saying, suppose I have a smaller array n, A, this is A array, number of elements are B, it is again n. Just consider the movement, ignore the comparison, consider the movement, the number of time you have moved the data to the C array. Maximum it could be 2n. Maximum it could be 2n elements. Now if it is a 2n movement, the complexity would be I have not considered the comparison and just consider the movement from A to C and B to A to C and B to C. And in this case, the complexity would be order of n. Just by the movements I am considering, because again the comparison would be less, but the movement would be maximum both because A and B both has to be passed to the C array. Okay. Now we will go to the multidimensional arrays. It has 2 or more subscripts, the basic idea. See, a 2D array A with m into n elements, in math application it is called as a matrix, in business application it is called as a table. Assume 25 students had taken 4 tests, the marks are stored in 25 into 4 array locations. This is the way it has been stored inside a 2D array. This is n, this is your m. Now the multi-dimensional array declaration in C++, this is the particular way we are already aware. Int student, bigger bracket m and two bigger bracket, the first goes as a row and second goes as a column, row into column. Okay, so we can use 0 0, like 0th row 0th column, 88 you can fill, or 0 1 78, or you can fill in this way also. You can see row wise row, first row, second row, eventually it should be 25 rows. This could be again a possible declaration. So this is an example how a 2D array is visualized. So it is first an array, 1D array, or it is a pointer 1D array with each store an address of one more 1D array. That is an idea. It is a pointer, right? It is a pointing to this particular array. This is pointing to this array. This is the idea. In this way, a 2D array is actually being stored inside a memory. Now, what is row measure and a column measure order? See, eventually they are stored in a contiguous memory location. What is a row measure matrix? See, it will go row wise 1 2 3 first, then 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. This is stored inside a memory in this way. Whenever it is a column measure order, it will go like 1, 4, 7, column first, then the second column first, 2, 5, 8, and then 3, 6, 9. In this way they are stored in a memory. Now this is a formula that is used to find an addresses or the location of a particular element inside an array, given it is a column measure or row measure order. There are some example exercise given, you can try here. And so this is the end of the array. Thank you.